a little bit of a pitfall for NiP here. It's something that they need to manage as the clock.
Well, who's going to pull off a smash and grab the bag on bank in this game? We'll find out now as the operator bans are underway. NiP starting us off with their attacking ban. Imagine we'll see a Thatcher here somewhere, and that is the go-to de facto ban on any map, it feels like these days. No surprises at all coming in their race.
No, none whatsoever. That's going to be Thatcher. I imagine we might see somebody who would affect Hatchers coming in as the second attacker ban. Somebody like Hibana maybe, or a Maverick.
Hibana's very, very popular on this map. There you go.
For good reason.
Yeah, very good reason. I believe it was Doki I spoke to about it when Bank first came out, and he said, Doki, what is it you're seeing at the minute on Bank? Talk to me, here's the expectations we've got, but what are you seeing? And he said for a number of teams, Hibana bans are going to be right, because of course on the downstairs you've got 3 or 4 hatches to open. Ubisoft even declared Hibana as the queen of hatches when they gave her that rework. They said that's the focus and the fantasy that we really want to push into, so no big surprise there. And again, it's what we saw back in our first game of the day, when we saw the Kai being let through on Coastline while Thatcher and Maverick were banned away. It is taken out here along with the Valkyrie.
I mean, interestingly, coming back to that Hibana ban, we look at it and it starts making other picks more essential now, because you've got to be able to get those hatches open. You've got to remember, on that bottom floor, there is no other option for verticality, There's no other breachable surfaces. It's the hatches or nothing. So if you can't get them, you are struggling to get any sort of vertical angle. So the thing is, that's changed a little bit recently as well. Once upon a day, mate, I said, right, we're going to see plenty of Maverick then. But that's not necessarily the case now, because we've got Buck. With hard breach gadgets. We've got Ace that you can bring along. Now, Ace, a little bit more limited, obviously uses 2 Selma chargers to open 1 hatch, only has 3 Selma chargers in stock, so can only fully open 1 hatch. But again, it's those options. Now, we're going to be attacking onto the top floor, so the hatch discussion can wait. We'll see that later on in the game, but there is still hard breach required here.
You know what I find really interesting? Look back at the previous game that we saw when Rogue played, right? In the previous fixture, they didn't bring along any hard breach operators. All they did was bring Zero and Buck every single round, and both operators brought along the hard breach gadget. And you might think, well, that's a little bit risky. In the main stage of EUL, we saw Rogue in stage 3 attacking things like Villa without a single hard breach on side. And I actually asked NiP about this. I was like, what's behind the philosophy there? And I spoke to Leon about it as well. And they were saying ultimately expectations are if you have hard breach that you'll take things slow, you'll open up walls, you'll play it by the book. And Rogue don't play this game by the book at the minute. They play a very aggressive and hard-hitting game. It's not total chaos most of the time. It is quite coordinated. But they said without that on side, you're forced to be a bit more aggressive, and that was their go-to play style. Whereas compare that to IG here, 2 hard breaches on side, a bit of a different vibe coming through. That's just, again, speaking to the difference in volumes that you get from teams from different regions, or just the teams themselves being quite unique. Also want to mention Gig being on the sledge, by the way, rather than a supportive role.
Absolutely. I think if they're going to play a slow attack, as you say, we'll see as the rounds progress whether that is the case for Invictus. Joe's getting himself straight inside there. He's also got Jordan supporting him as well. If it is a sort of slower paced attack, that could play into NiP's hands, because they are a team that will control the round very well on defense. They'll get aggressive in the sort of early to mid round, pick up a couple of kills, and then they'll happily sit back to site. They'll let you play into their utility. So if it's going to be a slow attack, that's going to play into that for NiP. It's going to mean some late round executes for Invictus. So they need to be aware of that. Make sure they've got enough pep in the beginning of the round.
I would wager IG have played this almost perfectly for the start of the round. You compare it to how some teams like BDS attack this map. They'll normally send 1 or 2 players out towards square and won't have all 5 coming in from one side. But IG, clearly a bit weaker with that hysterics as well, likely saying, look, we need to group together here, play it as a team from start to finish. And I like what they've done so far. Nice and quick inside, got the walls opened up, killed Yokais, opened up the softball down below, destroyed the gadgets that were on Kanto, and are now doing some drone work. They've got to that 60-second mark and started pushing their way forwards, and the top player for them in stage 3, Speakeasy, steps up big with the opening kill, pushing his way up as well. They've got more drones standing in front of them to help them out on their push through, but this is all looking great for them so far. Very impressed by IG, but the clock becomes my worry.
That's going to be the focus as this round continues. But interestingly, picking up Pino on the entry is not an easy thing to do. He does have a knack of finding those opening kills. Now, Gig goes big with an early kill onto Kamikaze, getting himself involved nice and early. But Psycho gets his opportunity and misses it. He's got to find that one. 5 versus 1 as Julio manages to find one back onto Speakeasy, but it's all he can do as Joe absolutely removes him at the top of main stairs there. And I think NiP might have just had a little wake-up call there. There's the alarm clock's ringing. It's time to wake up because you got a game.
They've just dragged him out of bed and given him a good few 2 or 3 slaps around the chops there. What a round out of IG. I said I was a bit nervous looking at it, you know, the clock. It's running down to that final 60 seconds. They're all grouped up inside lobby. They've got to push their way up spiral. But from start to finish, the coordination was excellent. The NiP play coming in to clear out the Kanto wall to get that opened up to stop any players playing in the long corridor. The push that came up to remove the shield with flashes. The Gone 6 coming out as well. It was just all beautiful team play. None of the madness that you see from other teams where you think, well, why is that one player pushing there by himself? Why is he swinging that right now? Like, no one could do anything off the back of it. It was just very controlled and coordinated, and I think even if NiP were out on their own, they would have been able to deal with that as a team as well. Really good out of IG. We need to see NiP be a little bit more proactive in this round, I think.
Well, this is, you know, I look at NiP and I think, are we going to see something better from them than we have in the last couple of months? And I think, you know, they've lost a lot of games. That wouldn't necessarily be too difficult. We certainly haven't seen them playing at their World Championship best that we saw back in May. But I look at it and I think there's things that concern me there, Des. Pino losing that entry battle. That's not like Pino. He had an opportunity. I'm gonna go out on a limb there. I know there'd been a drone dancing around at the top of stairs, but I don't think it had ever gone high enough to spot Pino out. Speakeasy came up focusing on elevators. I don't think he was aware of that fight with Pino until the shots came in, but he still won it out, and that is not like Pino. Psycho with an opportunity onto Banana there just didn't land his shots through the barricade, and those are sort of warning signs to me. Those are potential problems for NiP.
The way I always look at it is you can allow a couple of rounds of, you know, hijinks and things going not the way that you come to expect. If it starts becoming a trend, that's when you get nervous. So let's park our concerns about NiP from round one and see how this one sets us up. Pino with a great little drone here as well, sees all of lobby, knows where drones are coming through, can see pretty much all that he needs to and knows when he can look to strike here as well. Even anticipates a drone coming through, but was changing guns at the exact moment it pokes its little head through the door, backs out in fear, doesn't want to get himself snagged out by those pests. But look at the time that's being wasted. I know it's only 60 seconds so far, but he is definitely slowing down this initial lobby push coming out from the side of Invictus.
That's it, and Invictus needs to be very aware of his position because, as we saw, he's just sort of edging towards those windows, looking for the potential to get out there and cause a nuisance of himself. But Psycho, he's going to be the first one to be shut down here. Nice kill there, just on the entry.
Oh my.
Speakeasy finds Muzi, and this could be a real surprise. It's all starting to kick off for Invictus once again, and they find themselves 5 versus 3, having got themselves the first 2 kills. NiP are on the back foot, and they can't allow this to continue.
Oh my!
They're getting absolutely decimated right now as Joe and Gig find 1 apiece, and this is not what anybody at home expected to see out of the beginning of this game. NiP, you gotta wake up soon.
They don't know that he's coming in behind them here. Julio's pushed his way out into lobby and could strike big in the back, might find himself one. Will go for the spray and finds Gig, as you come to expect, but there is still one more in lone office. Now it's Julio pinned inside of the main lobby. Has got to be careful where he tries to push through here. They must have an idea. The plant going down and the shutdown comes through. My word, that is 2 rounds to go in the history books. And I tell you what, Gig, he's slapped 2 members of the SI winning team. Pino in 1 round, Kamikaze in the other. He can play and he's not on the maestro. That's the best part.
Not yet.
Not yet. Give it time.
Get him on the defence. We'll see what happens.
I just love it because everyone looks at a team that's got a coach standing in and goes, you know, the coach will be on hard support. They'll try and shot call as best they can. They'll help guide and coach the team, but you don't expect much from them. So far in both of those rounds, not only has Gig played on the sledge roll, so, you know, nades and soft breach and all the other key things that a team really sorely needs you not to die early on, he's also coming in and slapping out 2 of the best players in the world. It's madness. But you've only got to look down the kill scoreboard for the side of NiP to see just how dire the situation is. They've got 1 kill around. Julio, the only one with a kill to his name. Everyone else, 0 and 2. At what point does it stop being a series of unfortunate events and a trend in the NiP side that they cannot find a kill onto IG?
This is exactly the point, Des. You know, like I say, I look at it and I think, NiP going to show us anything here that maybe they've kept under wraps for the last few months? Have they been working on stuff in the background? And
10 seconds left.
That's not the problems that we see in here. It's not about ideas. It's not about, you know, having a new strategy. This is about players missing shots and not getting kills that normally we've seen them do it with their eyes closed, you know, come in and get these. And so it is a real surprise. We'll see whether the trend continues or not as we head into round 3. NiP are going to be going back to CEO, the top floor.
I was going to touch on this. I saw Jordan leave this like drone, sat inside the lobby. I thought, oh, it's nice and conservative. They haven't lost any drones. Nice job. And as soon as that yokai came bombing it down the main stairs, I was like, they're going to know where this is every day of the week. Far too easy. And NiP have moved a lot of their defensive setup over towards looking at square. They've got the shield outside, Janitor facing in that general direction. It's almost like they expect IG to change up their attack here and not repeat the same thing. But why fix what ain't broken? This looks to be once again an identical attack with a small difference of Jordan being up on the roof on the top floor. Otherwise, it's exactly the same and they find yet another yokai. That is a great aggressive play. We mentioned being a bit more proactive. That's the sort of thing you want to see coming out of Julio.
If you remember when we spoke through the rosters, I said, Julio, you'll often find him off on a little lurk, just hiding somewhere in the map. And that is peak Julio kills there. Just using that impact nade, open up the wall, get his angle, find his man. Speakeasy finds his man as he gets a headshot onto Psycho. And that levels us up at 4-4. NiP fighting better in this one. They haven't lost men as quickly as they did previously once that Invictus push started. But they are still losing them. There's Jordan. Speakeasy finding one apiece. That's Julio. Pino gone. It's all up to Muzi and Kamikaze. Neither of which have had a kill yet today.
It's unbelievable, even with the opening kill coming out of Julio, and it really gets things rolling for NiP, it feels. Psycho peeks into lobby when he gets banged out by Speakeasy again, and it's madness. All right, they try it once again. These disruptive flanks are doing a bit of work for them. Julio before, Kamikaze, now into Muzi doing it. They've got themselves down to this 2 versus 2, Gig being one of those final 2 left. And, you know, not to like put all the pressure on these two, but Luna's not the biggest gunner on this team. Neither is Gig. This could be hard coming up against, again, 2 of the best players in the world, but you just don't know after how these first few rounds have gone.
Look at the positioning of Muzi and Kamikaze. They've got the diffuser down. Kamikaze knows it, and that's exactly what they're playing for now. They know that Invictus have really got no choice but to come in and try and grab this briefcase to have themselves an option in the late round to be able to execute. It's either that or find the men and get the kills. But right now, neither of the men are left on site because why bother? There's nothing they can do without that diffuser. Luna taking more damage. It's just chip away at him right now. As soon as he goes in for that diffuser, I expect a challenge from Kamikaze. No, they've allowed the diffuser to be collected, Des, and that's going to give Luna the opportunity to get upstairs. Gig's holding down a line of sight for him. He's there to try and support.
No way.
He finds Kamikaze, and they might just do this. Luna gets dropped. It's all up to a 1v1.
Oh.
It's Muzi to find the kill onto Gig, and another close round. NiP! It shouldn't have been that close!
I think I'd have lost my marbles if Gig had won that 1v1 against Muzi there, to be honest, but no. It does come very, very close in the 2 versus 2, but time was not on IG's side. Nice and passive from NiP, a little bit worried for a moment that it was going to come back to bite them, but at least they get something on the board. Thing is, though, it wasn't a convincing round. You don't feel confident they can go on and win round 4.
Kamikaze had the diffuser down. He knew that. And I know he dropped away to basement and they were trying to play the time game, but it almost cost them the round. Luna was able to collect the diffuser completely for free, and then he gets picked up as a kill crouch walking into sight, but he had 20 seconds left to go. He had plenty of time to try and play that diffuser.
I love the doubling down from Jordan here as well. I believe it was Joe who was on the thermite in the prior round who got himself kind of crouch walked on inside alone. But one player did manage to kind of just crouch walk their way up main stairs, I believe it was in round 2, and find a freebie completely uninhibited. In fact, I think it was Jordan on the thermite in the previous round and also in round 2. Here they're almost doubling down on that and saying, right, let's bring along the Nook. Clearly, they don't see us coming half the time. If we can make those flanks work and pick up a kill or 2 and really upset the apple cart, why the hell not? Where NiP have found success so far is in these flanks, in these cheeky little aggressive pushes in the early to mid round. If IG could control that and make use of the Nook for their own purposes, it could be a good round for them.
Could be. We've seen the Capcam brought along by Psycho as well. Seen a lot more Capcam play now after the recent buff. I'll call it buff. You can now put multiple traps on one door, and we're seeing far more Capcam trap kills than we ever would.
I mean,
previously.
we saw Rogue run into 2.
This drone one doorway,
Yep.
you're dead.
Yep.
Whereas previously, you'd have walked through, you'd been, oh, Capcam trap, yep, I've taken some damage. Now, it's
dead.
Kiss, kiss, bang, bang, you're done.
I mean, I saw this on Twitter as well. In the previous game where Rogue had 2 members run into open area doorway and both died, it was like, what? And Leon was like, I said to them, guys, watch out, there's double cat cans set on this door, and they didn't listen to me. It happens. You lose messages in the heat of the moment, but my God, was it beautiful to watch. Gig this time round, not going to be the superhero that IG need or felt like they've had in the last couple of rounds. Shut down earlier on by Pino, who finally makes his way onto the scoreboard.
That's what NiP need. They need Pino to start being that entry master that we've seen him be in the past. Get in there, get those opening kills, get them the advantage. But Jordan, he's sneaking round the back, Des. He's looking to get himself in. There comes the Capcan trap, gonna put him down, but not out at the minute. Knock right now is the answer from Capcan as Jordan tries to sneak his way in.
You're as bad as me.
I know you love that one.
I did like that one. I know there was a lot of talk for a while about NiP being given the ability when her gadget's active to get past air jabs and jammers and Capcan traps, claymores, so on. Don't worry, Jordan, I'm afraid that's not currently in the game just yet, buddy. Does walk face first into that one and is taken out. Some good disruptive play from NiP early on is giving IG no chance of having any kind of form. Now they've got to try and step their way forward and make something happen inside the last 80 seconds or so. But if you're an NiP player or NiP fan, you'll be feeling pretty confident about this one.
Nice.
Until Luna just turns around and just slaps Julio out of kitchen, because why not?
If you wonder why Luna was just pinging his teammates' drone there, I think it was just the double check to make sure it wasn't a Mozzie captured drone, because obviously we've got Mozzie onside from Pino there, so if it comes up as a blue ping, you know that it's
safe.
Yours. Now Pino just does deploy the pest, but as you say, Des, doesn't see the drone until it's too late. Does get spotted out, so they're going to know that he's inside of towers, and here goes Joe, potentially looking to make a push forward, but he's going to need to be careful because of the rotation that's opened up from site now. 40 seconds left to go, 4 versus 3. And this is, again, sort of classic NiP. Get themselves a kill early round and then just try to sort of wait out the rest of the round, just ebb back and let Invictus try to push into them.
Well, now that they know there's one around Bleepers as well, trying to take a little challenge around here. Maybe fearing they'll get pushed from below as well, although all 3 members of IG are on this ground floor. Samuzi waiting for Ghost to come pushing up at this point. Psycho's entrenched in the back of sight, and there's 15 seconds to play. This push needs to happen here and now. Grenade over the top. They see the man crouched down. He takes a little bit of spray damage, finally taken out. In comes Speakeasy. Another cap can is triggered, but Joe is still standing. In comes Muzi. Can he find his man? Luna waiting for the man to step in. Sees the feet first. Everyone loves a bit of feet shots in this case. Luna finds himself taken out, but it's a 2 versus 2. Make it a 1 versus 2. Muzi has got to clutch up big. Joe, no HP to his name. Speakeasy about halfway up. They know where he is. They can afford to just wait and hold here. Speakeasy down to a slither. Muzi finds one. Can he win the last as well? Speakeasy, he's tucked himself far away. They can play the bait game here as well. Just wait for him to get on the diffuser and then step back in for the 1 versus 1. Speakeasy, now's the time to step in there. He's going to stick for it. Go for 2, go for 3. You've got to find him. Speakeasy finds him. But I thought for a second Muzi was going to get away with that one.
Speakeasy being really tentative there because he was on such low health, and oh, what a 1v1, Des. This is turning out to be an unbelievable game so far. 3-1 Invictus. NiP on the ropes. Invictus just raining body blows in, not allowing them any time to breathe. We're going to skim past that. I'm going to move on, Jordan.
This was the mad one.
This was a beautiful kill from Luna Metal. Just absolutely blasts out that barricade and finds his man, but NiP just unable to do what they normally like to do, which, as I say, they tried to get their opening kill and then just sort of take the foot off the gas, just come back off the pressure a little bit, let Invictus play into them, burn some time, and then pick up those kills in the late round, but it's just not working out for them.
Oh, it's such a beautiful game. Like, look, being dead real with all of you sat at home, coming into this game, I think, like, pretty much all of you, I think it was 21% to 79%, we expected a stomp. We thought NiP were going to like 7-1, 7-2 IG. Bearing in mind IG is starting on the attack as well. I'm back, like, that's a lot to do. Again, a big map to clear. A team like NiP might enjoy getting out on the roam and being problematic. But Invictus with very direct attacks. No one off trying to do their own thing and be some weird lurker off around the map. They're just playing as a team. They're keeping it nice and simple, playing basic, straightforward siege. And NiP at points have really struggled to deal with it. That last round was very, very close. Round 3, very, very close. The first 2, much more decisive. I can't wait to see what these next 2 bring and then how IG fare on the defense.
Round number 5 then, we head into the action phase. It's going to be Archives and Tellers this time. Interestingly, NiP completely foregoing that basement site. There's having absolutely nothing to do with it so far. it doesn't look like we're likely to get a defence of that anytime soon. Now then, Invictus have been pretty successful with the lobby-sided pushes so far. We'll see whether they're going to double down on that and try to move in through there again. Speakeasy has played on these windows previously as well. They've done a good job of controlling the top floor and controlling the map, really. NiP not having too much joy out on the roam so far.
And a step away from the, air quotes, usual strat we've seen coming out of NiP. They've dropped away the Mozzie, for example. Julio's across onto the Alibi rather than, say, the Mirror or the Cat-Can that we've seen historically. So some good variation coming in. And for IG, it's the same once again. Get one inside Loan Office, one inside ATMs, a couple work up towards Windows, and push your way forwards from there. They're not changing anything, but equally, NiP aren't, I wouldn't say even though the roster has changed or the lineup has changed, their actual playstyle itself isn't really moving. You've still got Psycho sat in the same place. You've still got someone hanging around Bleepers looking to challenge Jordan. The big difference this time around being that the wall has been reinforced off. And once again, Psycho has been taken out by a very aggressive Speakeasy. Make that a 2K for himself. Speakeasy, play easy.
Just absolutely shutting them down left and right at the minute. Speakeasy looking to push through. He's got another man in front of him in Lone. Now then, Muzi does find his jaw, but once again, Speakeasy there gets the trade, and that's a triple on the round. It is 4 versus 1 right now to Invictus Gaming. They are looking to make the scoreboard read 4-1 as well if they can turn this round over. And you've got to say, it looks like they probably will. Pino, he's the last man left alive, 1 versus 4, and everybody on the side of NiP, as we can see down the side there on those operator cards, they're all just watching Pino. Julio flicks onto a default cam, but it just tells me that there's not much for NiP to go off here.
Oh, mate. Speakeasy's 12-2. He's 12-2 against the reigning SI champs, Ace. What a performance he's having. The whole team playing out of their skins right now. Pino down to a slither of HP, closed out by Jordan. They find themselves yet another round. I can't believe I'm saying these words, but Invictus are 4-1 up against NiP.
The thing is, coming into the Sweden Major, I said, and I always do, you know, we go through the groups and we look and we say, yeah, you know, these are the teams that are likely to qualify from there. And you look at this group and hands up, being honest, you don't look at IG, especially without Hysterics, as being one of the teams that are likely to go through and get wins. But we always say coming in, there will be upsets, because we know there will be. The best of ones, there's 2 teams in the server, and anybody can beat anybody. The fact that you are here means you're one of the best 16 teams in the world right now, and you can get wins. And this is what we love to see, because we never know where the surprises are going to come. We can look at teams and say, yeah, Furia have got a few wins in them, or maybe Sandbox could get a win here and there, but we never know where they're going to come. And this one right now is a brilliant surprise. Invictus 4-1 up right now.
It's unbelievable. You saw at the start of the timeout as well. Speakeasy tap on the knuckles saying calm it down, but then equally when you're dropping 12 kills again against the reigning SI champions, why wouldn't you be jubilant about it? However, you can look back before that timeout. We know what timeouts can do for teams. They can completely transform outcomes. Either way you look at it, at best, NiP are coming out of the defensive half of Bank with just 2 rounds on the board. That's if they get over the finish line here. IG are eyeing up the prize. They want to get all the way through with 5 rounds and go onto their defense in high spirits. Now, you're looking towards the Amaro here and thinking, well, wrong site. You're not really going to use it to execute on a site. Yeah, you don't always bring the Amaro for that. It's more about this sort of thing. Very quick moves up towards top blue to catch anyone who's rotating back down to site after doing hatches later on. So Luna's going to sit here and be patient, probably for about 20 seconds or so, and then look to start the move up, because you just don't know when a member of NiP is going to come hightailing it back to site after being elsewhere around the map.
Certainly always possible. Luna's going to move himself on to Droning, just get that one positioned on the top of main stairs. And this right now from IG is all about controlling the map. They're going to be attacking down onto the basement, but the first step in this attack is always to get those top 2 floors cleared out. So there's drones, there's men going in. We've just seen Gig moving in through main lobby. They're being aggressive, they're moving quickly, they're inside the first minute, and I think at this point they're going to be fairly confident that they've got control over those top 2 floors. So that allows them to start focusing onto the basement. And this is one of the things I'd maybe pick up on for NiP, Des. One of the questions in my mind is, have they been a little bit too hands-off on this defence?
I said exactly that earlier on. They've got to be more proactive here and get more done. Did he? I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he meant to get this outside, but indeed he did. They're looking here, I think, more in case there's trouble. And maybe he didn't. No, I don't know. Because he threw it out, and I was like...
goes into near side.
And I thought he was going to have it watching, like, lobby or something, and I was like, is he going for garage? Like, I don't know. Julio is guaranteed to be undroned at this point as well. He's been sat there since round start, waiting for what a number of EUL teams do, is like go for these later round flanks, coming up through garage to try and hit them on the flank, get a couple of kills, for example, and really upset the apple cart. As I say, he wasn't seen. I'm a total liar. They know that he is here, but he's going to have a naughty angle, and he sees it first against Speakeasy, juicing himself back up. They need to find the man here before they go for the push.
Julio completely unaware that there's a drone here. Speakeasy's just doing the work for himself here. He's on the drone, he's yellow pinging, he's watching exactly where that man is moving, and he's just looking to win this fight. And if he does, it's going to be very dangerous for NiP. Julio's position is very important. Speakeasy taking more damage. Jordan with a kill onto Pino after the drop, and this could be just what Speakeasy needs to try and get himself back in, because right now there's pressure on Julio from both sides. And there you go. Joe moves in, gets one, gets two. Psycho shuts down Jordan, 4 versus 2. Invictus, they just cannot be stopped right now, Des. 35 seconds left to go. Psycho low health, NiP surrounded, and kills continue to rain in. This time it's Gig, it's 4 versus 1. It's Muzi. They make a deposit in the shape of a 5-1 scoreline. Invictus are running away with this on bank right now, and NiP, they just look cashed out.
It's unbelievable performance coming out of IG so far. We spoke about Speakeasy. That round was a little bit quieter from him, but it was like Joe, Jordan, Gig getting in the mix once again as well. Just putting, I know I keep on saying it, but that's just how important it is. The current SI champions to task. It's 5-1. They get to move on to the defensive side, where I now start to feel ever so slightly nervous for IG and think maybe NiP can fight their way back in, is IG on the defensive side need to get out in the map. In attack, they've been very unified. They've pushed from the same directions generally. They've worked together to achieve things. That's a lot easier to do on the attacking side. You're problem solving. Now you need to be the problem creators on the defense, and that requires being a little bit more proactive out in the map, getting yourself busy, trying to hit NiP where it hurts at unexpected times. And this is where I think things could, air quotes, fall apart a little bit. That's only me trying to give some kind of optimism to NiP fans here, though, mind you, because IG, at this kind of momentum, they could just run away with this in 2 rounds.
Certainly could do right now, because as you say, you know, ultimately one of the big problems for NiP is just getting kills on the board. We've got Muzi, who's found his feet a bit, getting himself up onto 6, but other than that, you look across and a player like Pino, he's got himself 1 singular kill, and that is just not what we expect to be coming out of him, and they're really going to need some more from him here. Now, heading into the action phase, we go round 7, Invictus going straight down to that basement site. Something that NiP held off on until their final defense, but Invictus, by contrast, they want to get straight down there.
Oh boy. Given away by the goo mines that Giga chucked down already. So now they know what's going on, where they're coming in from. Otherwise, they could have caught a member or two very, very freely. Now that one has stepped inside a service, keeps on watching this mirror window. He might see the second one that's trying to push his way in from tunnels. With that soft wall being opened up, this could be a freebie for Jordan if he sees his man at the right opportunity. The more this wall gets opened up, the more dangerous they might find it becomes for them. Luna, the one on the Oryx here, looking to maybe try and catch those up on the top floor that are currently looking for his buddies that might be on the top floor as well. They know that someone's disappeared down there. They don't know about the second one.
What a freebie!
They've got no idea that he's there. Luna with a freebie onto Psycho. The Iana taken off the board. Another member of NiP struggling to find their way into the game. It's not looking pretty, Ace.
It's really not. And once again, you know, we commented it on the game that we did earlier. Team 1 seemed to know absolutely everywhere that Sandbox were. And I would say the same here. Invictus just aware of what NiP are doing. And by contrast, NiP, Psycho there, just straying into a line of sight without any knowledge of the man being there. And when you're on attack, when you're the one sending the drones in, when you're the one gathering the information, you gotta be aware of that.
They're just being so patient. I really thought they'd have to get out on the map and get problematic, which to be fair, Luna has, but everyone else is just sat back on site. They're vibing, saying, hey, you guys want to come at us, then by all means. Kamikaze going in for the plant there. Surely a C4 comes out. It does indeed, but by then the support player for NiP has already got the job done. Got himself back out, drawn out the C4. and now they're going to have to rely on something else. The wall opened up, out come a couple of goo mines, and Luna finally found out on the top floor by Muzi. We're going to come down to that final 60 seconds where it's going to be nothing but plants going down inside of CC.
There we go. That's exactly what we need for NiP is kills. They need to start putting bodies in the ground from Invictus here because NiP are not a team that have got the diffuser down all that often. Speakeasy, how do you do it? Finds himself a disgusting 2K out of the garage there, but ultimately shut down. It's all up to Gigdead. Surely not. He gets one, but shut down by Pino. NiP managed to get themselves their first successful attack, and along with it, they get themselves 5 important kills. As I got cut off through saying there, when kills started raining in, Kamikaze not had the most plants in stage 3. NiP not a team that have been able to get that diffuser down all too often. As I say, sometimes time is their biggest enemy, but that is why it's important they start coming in and winning those gunfights. NiP need to play on confidence.
That shot from Speakeasy was filth. And I thought we might see Gig line up the 2-piece there as well,
Honestly,
but unfortunately,
I did for a second.
I saw it coming. Imagine if you brought down Muzi and Pino in the same mag as well. Oh my word, Twitter would be on fire. Top floor defense coming in though. It is still, of course, 5-2. IG still way ahead in the lead. And Luna going back to his good old-fashioned days. Not playing the Monty here, but it's a shield nonetheless. Clash being brought along. A very dug-in setup, I believe, coming in from the side of IG. They've got the Castle, they've got the Wamai and the Jaeger, they've got Smoke, they've got the Clash. This does scream to me, we want to be on site, we want to be wasting time. This is where it's going to come down to NiP and how well they can break open this fortress that is being established by Invictus.
They managed in round 7. They're going to have to manage a whole bunch of times more because on the scoreboard, the only bit that really matters there, we still see it is Invictus 5-2 at the moment, and one round is going to put them onto that match point opportunity. So NiP, for my money, really don't have much wiggle room here. They don't want to be making that mistake and giving Invictus the opportunity to get onto 6, because as we said, Invictus, they're playing without pressure, Des. They've got a man out, they've got the coach standing in the shape of Gig, and so for them, any points are probably going to be more than they would expect. So NiP, they can't give them that opportunity because you know that Invictus will take it, because they just won't have expected it, and they're going to be like, yes, thank you.
I do want to touch on, of course, the small changes that have come into Castle recently where he now has 4 armor panels. They take less hits to open, 9 versus 12 from before, I believe, and that's 4 of them on side. So you can, against teams that don't bring along Gon 6s as much maybe, which of course they are here, but against operators like Buck, he's going to struggle to get these windows opened up. He's kind of stuck on a window waiting for his team to help him out there, giving a lot more security to Joe, who's sat in the spot that we saw Psycho in for the entirety of the first half. So now you get a chance to see how it's going to play out. And Gig, you are my hero. This is my Valkyrie rat spot. This is my Valkyrie rat spot in ranked. I will always play here and abuse Valkyrie cameras just to bully people. There are no Val cams on side, but he could find one of the cheapest, cheesiest kills you've ever heard of.
Oh, Psycho getting a kill onto Speakeasy there. I was just going to suggest if Invictus just baited Julio onto that rappel and just pushed one out into elevators and just gave him a sniff of it, gave him a little opportunity, it might have been an absolute freebie for Gig now.
Oh, he's on his head.
He's his head. He's going to be looking for this external kill here, and you know what, Des? He might just get 1, he might just get 2. There's an opportunity there, and Gig with a kill onto Kamikaze. He's going back for more, Des. He's going in for some afters here. He knows there's another, but he's going to take shots as Julio manages to find him. He's got himself locked in at ATMs there. Not going to be easy to find his way out. Julio can just hold this angle for the rest of the round if needs be, but no, they've let Gig back out. They've let him into it. Psycho, however, moving from underneath, finds that headshot. Gig does a little bit of damage in taking Kamikaze out, but there is another hard breach option with Julio on the ace.
Still got that Clash alive, which is always going to be a worry as we get to this final 45. Even Jordan's dug in behind a shield at this point. Square seems to be the point of push coming in for NiP. They've got to break open this hold first, coming out of Jordan, who, of course, the Wamai also with a small buff gets more and more of those magnets. Those magnets, irrelevant if you've got a bullet through the head. Down he goes, a 2 versus 4. It's all down to Joe and Luna to hold the fort, and they can't do that. It's a triple in the round for Psycho. Julio, patient as ever on the window, will find the close. NiP move up to 5-3.
Certainly starting to fight back now. It looks like they just needed to get themselves onto the attack, but that is a problem that NiP will need to deal with going forward. Win or lose here, they can't be going into games against teams like BDS, against teams like the Sonics, and just expecting to win it on attack. They've got to be able to find those defensive rounds as well. But good from NiP. They certainly weren't rattled by Kamikaze being taken down. They reacted well and gave Gig a little bit more freedom than I might have liked, but got the kill nonetheless as Psycho moved swiftly underneath and picked him up from Tellers, and that was pretty much the end of it. Started falling apart for Invictus from there. Now then, the problem for Invictus here, Des, is maybe a little bit of the mental game. They've had a great start, but NiP start fighting back into it, and then they think, you know, suddenly the fact that Hysterics isn't there, suddenly the fact that they're playing with their coach, it comes screaming back at that point.
Of course, on the other stream, we've had the conclusion of that game. If you don't want to hear spoilers, then mute your ears now. You've got 3 seconds, 3, 2, 1. BDS winning 7-2 over the Sonics.
Big.
It stays. So things can only get better for NA, right? They've had a 0 win round game, a 1 win round game, and now 2 win round games. So by that logic, you're going to find that SSG lose 7-3 in the next game.
21-3 so far.
Nice.
Not going well at the minute, but it is early days yet, Des. We are not even out of day 1 here at the Siege, the 6 major in Sweden.
Throw any combo of words of 6 Siege, Sweden, major.
It's too many S's. It's very difficult.
Anything else we can throw in there?
Very, very difficult.
Competent? Nah. We'll stick with those 4. Let's see how the round shapes out then. So for NiP building confidence in the last couple, it's good to see them getting a bit of bounce back in, and IG have not felt as close in those rounds as they did do on their attacking side, which, again, if you're an NiP fan right now, is going to fill you with a bit of confidence. On the side of IG, maybe you're starting to sweat at the brow a little bit at the prospect of what might be coming. Only time will tell how this could play out, though. We'll keep a very close eye on how the next few begin and what it is that NiP are doing to pull themselves into the lead. Very fast control established up here on the top floor. Windows and Square establishes their controlling points. For IG, often it was the windows and out towards lobby, so differences already in attacking styles coming out of either team here. Muzi really wants to get some control on this top floor, look to clear out these roamers that are up here, but right now being spooked and scared away by those alibi decoys.
Speakeasy just looking to challenge onto the windows there. He's not going to find himself any luck, and the pressure's mounting. They certainly know of his position. Shots raining through the soft walls there. NiP just trying to tighten this circle. You can see the drone just buzzing around, surviving as well, and feeding information, and that's something that I feel NiP have been lacking previously. So information is key. Speakeasy goes to the peak, wishes that he hadn't, as Psycho manages to find a beauty from the window. Muzi doubles down with one onto Luna Metal as well, and Joe, he's going to find himself under a lot of pressure very, very soon.
Yes, I'd say he peaked here before and got absolutely slapped for no real reason. Here, Psycho's got the long angle to him from Banana, down on towards that white corridor, like endpoint, I guess, where he was sat behind the shield. And this looks to be another miserable round for the side of IG. NiP have awoken. They're winning these 1v1 gunfights. And IG, a little bit static. I did say at the start of the half, I'd be nervous about how proactive they could be, how well they could play as a team if you're on the defensive side with so much to cover around the map. And so far, NiP are abusing that to the nth degree.
Certainly are. Taking full advantage of it. Jordan just trying to get a vertical angle up through the hatch there. Currently finds himself in the admin office, finds himself shut down as Psycho gets himself a 3rd in the round. He's hunting for more as well as he starts to push through the rotation and on into sight. There's an opportunity here for NiP to get that diffuser down. Gig, he's going to open up that elevator as a last-ditch escape route, but he doesn't want to go anywhere because he knows he has to try and fight his way back into sight. Shut down as he moves out. Flawless round for NiP and a 4K for Psycho on the round.
You right there, mate?
Yeah, I'm good.
Sure. Okay. Fine. Ace is a nightmare with ice, by the way. We found this out earlier on.
I nearly fell over twice.
Yeah, you're not good at slippy surfaces, mate. Or boxes on grounds that make you look taller than you actually are, apparently.
Yeah, I just fell off that as well.
It's not a good day. Well, you know who else is falling off a lot of things? IG are falling off the wagon. NiP, now up to 5 and 4, are within touching distance of catching back up to IG. Now, can they do 3 rounds in a row? I'd wager after the last 2 or 3, the answer is probably yes. You could see NiP carrying on their current trend of absolute domination on their attacking side, and IG struggling to find a way back into this fixture. Speakeasy was 15 and 3 at one point, absolute gunner in the first half, and things have quietened down. And the issue is, if he's not fragging out, who is, because the highest kills on the team otherwise are Gig, sat on 6, and that's about it. You can look at NiP and say a similar story, but you got more members starting to pull ahead and really shine. So in a round where Speakeasy doesn't do well, who's there to pick up the slack?
Back down onto the basement they go as well. It was round 7 that we saw them play down here, and it was pretty convincing for NiP. Julio was able to move his way in through Garage, picked up a couple of kills. There was a good push into server, a lot of control from NiP. They got the top floors locked down pretty quickly, and other than the opening kill, which was onto Psycho from Luna Metal, there was nothing really that IG managed to get going last time around.
Absolutely. Well, let's see where the attacks start to focus out in this round. If it's going to be a classic take like we saw previously, coming in from the east side up through Tunnel, for example, getting control of server and opening up those default walls, or if we see something a little bit different. What we have seen consistently is Muzi looking to push his way in through the double door on Square, mind you, and just look to hold it down. Anyone that might be downstairs, anyone that might be lurking on the top floor is going to be threatened by him, and that much has been very, very consistent so far.
Muzi into the top floor, just looking for the potential that Roma. Last time it was Luna Metal on the Oryx. Not going to be the case this time around, and Invictus just choosing to play things a little bit more passively this time. Luna Metal on the blue stairs instead, this time with the smoke shotgun, just looking to hold them off, get right up in their faces in order to do so. But needs to be careful, it's pretty easy to get trapped inside of there. If NiP come in and decide to open this hatch, there's no real way out at the bottom of the stairs there, and I was wondering if Luna Metal had chosen to just dip himself away, but for the time being, no. If Psycho gets himself into server, he's completely locked down, Des. There's absolutely nowhere for him to go at that point.
We'll see. At least in these first 75 seconds or so, it's been more about establishing where these members of either side are. They've, of course, got the assistance of the Echo in this round to get them a bit more information as to what's going on, which should enable Gig to play a little more confidently. He is stacked by magnets all around him inside a server, even a couple tossed in towards the tunnel. You can see for NiP, they really want control of server. It's almost like IG have recognized that and adapted themselves by really stacking a heavy defense up here. Drones being taken out for fun at this point, it feels like, and you've got Gig providing the support below, even though 4 members of NiP are desperate to get this control.
You can see the utility just being absolutely reined in through the door there, but Luna Metal just using that Toxic Babe canister to hold them at bay and to prevent the push coming forward. There's a man behind the server stack which is preventing Psycho from cutting off that rotation, but he does find Gig. Psycho, he's going to get aggressive now, pushing to server because he wants to cut Luna Metal off, doesn't want to allow the man out of stairs, and that's it. Luna Metal, he's locked in, he is dead to rights right now. He manages to take one with him, but that is going to be all he can do, as Muzi is piling straight in behind and goes through the man. 4 versus 3, 35 seconds left to go. NiP need to keep moving, Des. They can't let the clock get the better of them. They get the wall open. That opens up the default plant spot. They need to bait out this last bit of utility from Jordan, and that could be a very important Selma there.
As I say, it reveals the feat, of course, by Jordan, so they can cause a bit of trouble here. Kamikaze goes in, and a beautiful nade from Psycho takes the man out. He's inside of sight. They're down to the last 10 seconds. There's a Yokai. Do they know where the last man is? They're going to try and push him here. Finds himself 1. Can he find 2? No, he can't, but gets pushed from Garage. NiP find yet another. They fight their way back up to 5 and 5. And IG left reeling about what they can possibly do to take this one at the very least to overtime.
This is it. You just feel now that the NiP train is rolling. It's going to take something to knock them off track. And I really like how they dealt with that. It took them quite a lot of time to set it up, but it was worthwhile in the end. Psycho not challenging onto Gig too early, just left him there so that Luna Metal stayed on the stairs. Because when Luna Metal loses his man inside a server, he starts thinking, do I need to leave? Do I need to move out of here? So keep him locked in there. Get your kill onto Gig. Psycho pushes forward. Nowhere for Luna to go. 5 versus 3. And it's pretty plain sailing from there for NiP. They level things up. They've had 4 rounds in a row nowadays. Every single one of their attacks has been successful so far. We find ourselves in round 11. And right now, I'm struggling to see where Invictus are going to get these rounds from.
It's really fascinating seeing how attacker-leaning the map has been in this fixture as well. 5-1 in the first half to IG. NiP on the way back to delivering much the same, if not better. IG yet to find a single defensive round. It's going to be the top floor where they step back into this castle being brought along once again. In fact, it's the exact same setup as we saw just a few rounds ago, when they really locked themselves down on this top floor, sitting behind the Clash, behind the Smoke, the Wamai, the Jaeger, and of course, the Castle of Joe. It almost feels a couple of the things they've died to, and I can't really blame them, right? They've got very peaky, very keen to take gunfights is the best way I can describe IG, and more often than not, they have lost them. A couple of times it's like, well, you've got a shield, you don't need to peek it so aggressively, but it's almost trying to keep NiP in check and not letting them move freely. But IG are just losing a few too many gunfights here for that to be able to give them any kind of consistent advantage in a round.
Gig this time, instead of being out on the roam, he's going to be playing inside of elevators, and I think he's going to come under pressure pretty quickly. We've got Julio straight away on that rappel with the ace. He's got the opportunity to open that wall up, and this already makes it difficult for Gig to maneuver once that wall is open, because of course as soon as he steps out of elevator, he's going to be challenged by Julio. So now NiP have got an opportunity to rain a bit of utility in there. I'm not sure though whether Gig has maybe just got an option there. The hatch is closed, so he's no option to drop out of there. He does have Lunar Metal with him though, so that could provide the cover that he needs to move out of here as and when the time comes. But Lunar Metal's position is going to be very important, and a well-placed nade could ruin IG's day here.
That was really cute, where Lunar Metal was blocking the vision line through to Jordan, so he could get back up main stairs and move behind the shield, so they can still play this power position. They haven't been forced away, even with, I think on Julio's side, a very clever or smart way of opening that wall is not opening up the full thing, but just at feet level, so you can contest at long range, but they can't see you very comfortably. It's a really nice way of getting things done. That aside, it's Pino going to be the opening death in this round. Still got the members of IG sat in the positions that NiP really struggled to hold on to. Banana being a great example. Joe is still sat there. They've still got full control of White Corridor, with the Clash assisting in keeping that ground closed up. It's a really good round from IG, and NiP needs to make their moves, and that's the move you want. Julio stepping forwards for on the window rappel, finding the Clash for free.
That's it. So important to take that operator down. We commented Lunar Metal was protecting 2 operators on that long line of sight. That's not going to be the case anymore. Speakeasy manages to get one, but the lack of protection starts to show, and that's both of them taken out. There's Gig, Joe, both gone. It's down to Jordan and Speakeasy now. They're going to have to find something. Speakeasy knows that Julio, he's going to sit on that rappel for 3 minutes and hold down the angle. It's 3 versus 2. In comes the nade, another one from Psycho. He is going big with the explosives today. 3 versus 1. Jordan, he's got it all to do, Des. He's trying to just maneuver his way out onto Banana here. Wants to make the challenge onto the rappel that he knows is there, but NiP, they've got to think about getting Kamikaze into sight here with the diffuser. 15 seconds. Don't let the clock beat you again. In comes Kamikaze. Jordan's going to do this. No! Somehow, Kamikaze manages to switch.
Julio is still on that window, and it feels like such a small thing to get focused on, but Clash could have been a big difference maker in that round for him if they hadn't died so easily. You know, could have helped lock down the end of the round there and slowed things down enough that they get it over the finish line and win. Instead, he's died a little bit too early on and things have completely fallen apart. Here in the basement, we get a different style of setup coming in. Luna onto that smoke once again. I expect we will see a hold coming in inside the blue stairs as we've seen previously. Otherwise, things looking relatively similar, except for Gig, instead of being on the Wamai here, stepping across to playing on the Thunderbird. I'm nervous about the lack of ADSs, about the lack of nades, sorry. ADSs. ADSs and magnets. I'm nervous about the number of nades that could be brought along by the other side.
I mean, you know, I'm taking from the setup of those corner salvation stations that they want to hold on to red corridors. We've got 3 of them all in the same location. Not actually a bad idea. It's not just about the operator that's going to be inside a red corridor, I wouldn't imagine, but it's quite a heavy footfall area. You're going to have defenders moving in and out of there. It's quite often used as a rotation from one to the other, and so, yeah, quite a good opportunity there to just get juiced up as you go. Now then, they've recognised that there's a lot of trouble came into there. They failed to hold on to it. It allowed NiP to get the diffuser down, but what's going on here, Des? Psycho, he's trying to move into garage unseen here. He's going to try and come in with a little surprise for them.
They'll probably draw him in from the other side, down main stairs, figure out if someone like Julio, who was doing it back in the first half, is lurking down inside a garage, and if not, they go for broke. And sure enough, there's the drone to make sure he's safe to go in. He could really cause massive spoiler damage here if they're not careful. They have no idea right now that he's stepping his way up. If there's a mirror window here, I'm pretty sure they'll spot him out quickly enough, so he's got to be really careful about how he plays this out.
Certainly does. Now then, Psycho just uses that Hell Presence reduction device again, and he finds his man. Can he get a second? Yes, he can, Des! He gets 2. Jordan and Lunar Metal both going down. What a play from Psycho. He opens them up like a tin of beans, Des, and they are in there now. 5 versus 3. NiP, they need to close this out here and now.
That should be about it. You'd expect to see maybe a mirror window on that wall as well to play behind. IG are going to rue not having that one set up. Speakeasy sees the drone. They know that he's lurking around this corridor. He wants to find his man, but look how far they've pulled back. They're just kind of expecting and saying, you guys want to come and push and be aggressive, please do. Julio's the one holding it down. Muzi into another kill. APAC hearts are breaking in front of our very eyes here, Ace. It's a 5 versus 2. Speakeasy 17-7, but all he can do is look as his allies fall around him. A C4 coming out, a great one, and that will find a kill for them, but he's got more to deal with. No one's inside of the server, buddy. They're in the stairs behind you. That should be where the attention is being paid. NiP, 70 seconds to play. 4 men left alive. This is theirs.
Certainly a job still to be done, though. Hard breach is lost, so they can't get any more access than what they already have. Julio, of course, on the ace, but the reason that I say it's lost is because Julio sat in garage and we're unlikely to see a rotation from him. So that single wall into sight has been open. That's the key one. That's what I was looking for, and that is critical. So there is an opportunity to get the diffuser down. 4 versus 2. NiP, they have time at the minute. They've got the opportunity now then. Speakeasy, he's on a real rotation here, and he might just catch them out if they're unaware of this. We've got Muzi playing the hatch up above. It leaves Joe all alone, and NiP need to get decisive here, Des. They just need to take an opportunity to get the diffuser down. Muzi finds Speakeasy. Pino's going to do exactly that. Starts planting that diffuser in the default spot. Joe knows that he can't go anywhere near this. Looks to make the challenge. Shut down in red by Julio. And that's going to be NiP coming back with a 6-0 attacking half. 6 rounds in a row. They close it out. I think they'll rue letting